Throughout my life, me and my family both have had a hard time deciding what we wanted to do with our lives. My mom even went back to school after she had graduated with her bachelor's in psychology to become a nurse.
Okay, so I was asked to talk about my journey to becoming a nurse. And I guess it started when I was in high school. I loved biology. I did fairly well and took all the classes that I could. But I couldn't stand the sight of blood, so I kind of knew that nursing was not for me, or I wasn't going to be able to be successful in that. So when I took my ACTs, and I got my score back, my guidance counselor told me that I would not be successful at all in college based on those scores, and that I should possibly consider a 2-year college instead of a 4-year college. So I went to Emporia State, and I changed my major about 5 times. My very first year, I started out in government, and I also did some teaching courses. I did some biology courses, and then I finally ended up in psychology. So I graduated with my psychology degree from Emporia State in 2002. I worked for several years as a case manager, did some stuff on my own, ran my own business for a while. Always really still wanting to do nursing. So I had a few children by that point, and I decided that maybe I could stand the sight of blood. So I went back to school slowly. I got my CNA, and then I worked as a CNA for a short period of time before going to a 2-year college to get my LPN, which I got. And then I worked as an LPN for a couple years before deciding to go on and get my RN. And I graduated with my RN in 2011, and I've been a practicing RN ever since.
My dad started out at college, then moved to building houses, and now he's working in a nuclear power plant.
Are you ready?
Okay. Hi, my name's Mike. I'm Hannah's dad. I was going to talk a little bit about how I became to be an evaluation specialist at Wolf Creek. So I graduated high school in 1991 and wasn't really sure what I was going to do in life. I joined the National Guard and went to basic training in the summer of 1991 and came back as a field artillery gunman and served 8 years. While in the National Guard, I held different jobs in the local community in Burlington. I started at the lumber yard and worked there for about a year before I moved into building houses with a really good friend of mine. After building houses for a couple years, I got offered a job to become an HVAC technician, and I chose to take that path because of benefits associated with that job, such as health insurance and paid vacation. So I worked with that company for about 3 years, and then decided to go back to building houses. The good friend that I built houses with had offered me some money and decided to pay for my insurance as well. And so over a period of time, we had built 31 houses together, and that included doing all the electrical work, plumbing, HVAC, roofing, shingling, and just everything, hanging sheetrock. From there, I decided to move into a nuclear career at Wolf Creek, and so I started out there in 2004 as a security officer and an armed response officer. And after a couple years, I had an opportunity to move into scaffold building. So scaffold building was a little more suited for me. It was kind of back to the construction roots, if you will, and it got me off of shift work. From there, I moved into doing evaluations for the station. So at Wolf Creek, if we have an issue, we write a condition report. So what I think about all of this, I tried my hand at college right after I got back from basic training, and didn't really suit me or work out well for me. So each one of these jobs that I've had over the years, I've really tried to focus on applying myself and looking for the answers, understanding why we do things. And so when I think about that, I've really gained a huge appreciation for teachers.
When I was growing up, I went through many stages of what I wanted to be. Throughout childhood, my answers ranged from a cowgirl to a nurse, just like my mom. Then, when middle school hit me, I decided that I was going to be a therapist or a school guidance counselor, even though my family tried and tried to talk me into something less depressing. This idea stuck with me until the first 2 weeks of being in college at ESU. Then, one night, I couldn't sleep, tossing and turning in my bed, knowing only one thing. I hated psychology and I wanted out. Knowing this, I texted my mom, and even though it was 2 a.m, she responded and we talked about what I should do. The following are the reasons that we came up with that I should be an elementary teacher. Number 1, all I've ever known and done to make money was babysit, so we knew I was good with kids. Number 2, my sister, who is 6 years old, loves to be around me even when I'm helping her with her homework, and surprisingly enough, I enjoyed that as well.
I think my sister would be a great teacher because she would help me learn.
Number 3, my latest and greatest babysitting adventure. His name is Toby Murray, and he taught me that I love to help and guide kids on their learning adventure. He may even be the reason that I consider special education. Number 4, my mom had always seen me being a teacher, even though she never told me until the day I decided to change my major. Looking back now, I knew deep down all along that I wanted to teach, but being as stubborn as I am, I needed to figure it out for myself. And it all started because my family knew me better than myself.